Hi everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Just wanted to go over a latest analysis for cryptocurrency markets using Binance data. I'm now, I guess you could say, an official customer of Binance. If you haven't seen my video on how I funded an account with Binance on top of testing the automated trades with the buy and sell within Binance and their API. I'll be doing a demo on that tomorrow night. Today is July 23rd, and what we're going to be doing is going through the usual report, but I just want to add a little surprise at the end. I've not mentioned this before. Here we have Bitcoin has appeared to be on the upswing. So as a result, what I've added here, these are the best combination of pairs to get maximum returns according to this portfolio optimizer. And the expected return should be 1.9%. Or sorry, 1.9%. Now, there is a bug here which should be showing the weightings to get that, but for now, I'm going to keep the combinations of these pairs going. For that kind of expected return, I'm not sure obviously that can be correct or not, but I should be actually tracking this for the next day or 24 hours from now, being at 3:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what we're dealing with here is we're dealing with two cryptocurrency pairs, BCH, which is I believe Bitcoin Cash BNB, XZC and BNB. So let's go over to the report that was generated. So again, here's the list, and this is sorted, but Neo BNB seems to be one that will give you a better return, but the BCH against the US dollar tether may give you the better return. But here we have Bitcoin against the Binance crypto BNB, their cryptocurrency, as well as what was the last one here, the XZC. So this one. So these are the combinations, but let's see what we have here, because I do believe, and I said this a few weeks ago, that we are, I feel, with Bitcoin on the rise over the last day or a couple of days actually, and the moves have been pretty solid and they've been pretty consistent. So I do think we have hit some form of bottoming process and everything may start to recover now. So what we have here is we've got the a sudden decline since December, and things have been stable since around February, and there's been no declines, which is good, obviously. Solid downtrend. So now we're just coming out of that downtrend where historically now we are above the historical long-term trend line. And again, we do have very tight Fibonacci levels, so we will wait it out to see where things will go. Things are improving. The returns are still negative historically, and this is, again, all the way back to December of last year. What, 7 months now. So let's look at the next level. So here, this is the interesting part. We have here a head and shoulders, or I call it now a formation of it. Doesn't really mean a significant amount, but we did break through. Here's the neckline. Here we broke here at the expected move. We did exceed it, and that would have been a good time to buy with those kind of moves from 63 to 66. So that right there, in a pretty short order, you would have gotten a 10% return. Now, these are the things we want to look out for. I'm looking for any harmonic patterns. I don't see any. But what we do have is our candlesticks are screaming bullish 721, 719, 719, and 721. Now, these are supposedly the more bullish. I'm just going to ignore the description of these, but it is screaming reliable candlestick patterns at us for the last 2-3 days. Okay, so when we look at What else are we looking at here? Signals, we've got one here, but again, you can see these signals don't really amount to much. So this is where that reliability of these moving cross signals are, I don't know. Once we see, like, this is doing pretty strong, unless this was to scream with some harmonic patterns, I'd be all over it. But the system's saying otherwise. So here on the low end, or short term, this is a 30-day look back, so the last month. So we have here some kind of pattern here showing on these trend lines, upper and lower. It is breaking through the upper trend line, which is good, but it still has that downward momentum. Here we have the moving averages. They are tightening up, which is good. The EMA is still higher. The 200 is still too high. Historically, we need to see these move, and it comes back to the RSI. If we bought this in April, we could have done well in this upswing here, and then just in the short term. But the question is, are we moving up? Now, here's the problem. RSI is still in overbought condition. Momentum is slightly above zero, so you can see here in these moves along here that the momentum did increase. So that's a good sign. But here it's still questionable. Now, if I remember, let's go back to our report here. Yeah, so that's BCH BNB is one of the more potential ones with some momentum, but it looks like it's being held off. But again, if you have been watching the position manager and the watch list, this would be a very good cryptocurrency pair to add to the watch list and wait for those momentums to confirm and break through our upper stop loss targets, or even a soft target as well. So I'll be putting more info on that down the line. Now again, here's our 90-day move. It has been moving up, slow, lots of candles patterns here you could probably see. But again, it's getting into that overbought position. So this is where I worry about these sort of scenarios, because I'm sorry, right here at 70, it's just overvalued. So we need to watch that. But the interesting thing here is you can clearly see for the last 30 days, since roughly July 13th, comes in, hits that overvalued, and it's going to drop, I believe. But we have some pretty nice moves up here. If we did track this since July 10th, I bet you there's some nice patterns here that would have been screaming if we were tracking it back then. Again, around the 10th, 11th, 12th in this range, and it did move up. Nice move, came back down, and it may come up, but I bet you that this will get knocked back down because it's overvalued. And once again, our momentum has been building over the last 30 days. So tough one to say, but I'll definitely add it to the watch list, or the system will add it to the watch list. Okay, so our next one, oddly, is this one that we're about to do is, or no, ZRX Ethereum. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm getting confused here. Yeah, so we want XZC BNB. Okay, let me just go back to our chart. So I just want to make sure XZC BNB. Yeah, so this is our next one. Again, we had a recent buy signal, but again, I mean, there's been very little moves unless you're not noticing them. But here's the cool thing, is that we are definitely hitting that reversal bottoming process all the way back to roughly late January, February time. And then the Fibonacci levels are starting to open up. So once we start to see these undervalued, could buy if there's enough momentum behind it here. Excuse me, and just wait for the Fibonacci moves to hit here at the 362 or 236 levels, that would be pretty good. But you can see here it's been clearly beaten down this XZC. But here is a bullish crab found. And this is a bullish crab found right here at the point. So let's see, get some more details. So now we're starting to see some upward momentum on these trend lines. This may be an actual good buy or good entry. Again, here we are seeing some RSI along here starting to form, starting to get our normalized region. Still no long-term momentum. But here we're on a 90-day look back, and it's been beaten around. I don't see any candlestick patterns though. Oh, we did get so all we have is the harmonic pattern. So there's no candlestick patterns here. But this is an interesting one to watch. You can see it slightly go up, slightly pushing towards the overvalued at 70 on the RSI. Ooh, let's see what we got here. So if we moved moving average trends, so wow, okay, this is a good sign that we have broken through the EMA. So the short-term averages here in the SMAs are higher now than the EMA, which is a very good sign. So we're starting to go from 1.2 to 1.5, but even we had a wick here at 1.6. So that's a pretty good move, just if you were to close out at that point, at that right time at 1.6. But again here, this is looking good, but look out, we are approaching the overvalued. And again, the momentum has declined, but something or someone is pushing this up. And let's see here. So now we're looking at Bitcoin, or sorry, Litecoin BNB. And again, these are not, well, actually they're pretty big moves when you look at it. I mean, the value is doubling here between Feb to sometime in March. So who knows? But again, we have the same as before. The trend, the pricing is just hitting over the long-term trend, which is very good. Again, we should be having a formation of the bottoming process, but we need to see more levels of these Fibonacci levels open up. As you can see in the previous chart, let's see here. You can see here they started to open up quite a bit. Let's go back to where we were on the Litecoin BNB. There's definitely some kind of bottoming process in the whole asset class of cryptocurrency. So again, we have another bullish crab on a daily chart. Interesting. So we are possibly moving up. Again, you can always look at these levels here on the third pricing, on what the target would be for Fibonacci on the short term if it was a 30-day, what levels we could go in at point as explained at 67, 62, I'm sorry, 62, but I'll have to go into the details of that because the cryptocurrencies are starting to move upwards. Now again, nice thing is 180 days. This is a 6-month chart. Historically, we would see our averages, our short-term averages would be a lot lower than the long-term EMA. So they're starting to get tightened up, which is good. Hitting our undervalued, the RSI, so there's definitely some buying opportunity here that we're getting hit. Same here, and be very interesting to see what happens as the price starts to form. And again, we're starting to see some momentum build up. Not big move swings, but they are moving up. But you got to watch this RSI level at 70. Momentum is above 0, which is good. It's positive, so that's a good sign. But look at this. This is a 30-day chart, so we're going from 6 to 7. Right along here. I'm just surprised there's no candlestick patterns getting flagged here. And again, the volume's still fairly low for this type of currency pair. Now we have NEO BNB. Interesting, it doesn't quite look as good as the previous two, which is about right, I'm going to assume. Again, more negative, but, okay, so we have here what appears to be an automated head and shoulders. Okay, so this is possibly a 1,000 uses hours only. So notice that's 1,000 hours. So I believe that's roughly. Let me just get my old calculator here and just figure out how many days that would be on the automated head and shoulders here. So we have 1,000 divided by 24. So that's 40 days. So last 40 days we've had upward trend line, neckline, and then our price is just ready to break through. So that is something I'd be watching. Okay, again, and here we go again. So we have a bearish on 719. Let me just see that. But we have a harmonic cross. Let me just see, everybody. So we got a harami cross bullish. So let me just show you. We've gone through this with the candlestick patterns before, my YouTube channel. So here you can find here Bolkowski bullish harami cross. Good potential, but it acts randomly. Just 55% of the time, price continues bearish trend. So what it's basically saying is that 55% of the time you will get a signal, but it'll go back into a bearish trend. So we need to be aware of that. Just catch up here. So we have a bullish cross frequency. So it's pretty high. Performance ranks pretty high. Best meeting pricing 74%. Bull market on the up, but best move after 10 is 4.52%. Up breakout 10%, 36. So it's I guess it's still considered pretty good. So let me just analyze this here. So we have a bullish cross. So if you follow what I'm trying to do here, you want to go to the 1 day. Oh, I should get the date. So we have the date here of 7/22. So that's yesterday. So this may actually pop up if I did this scan tomorrow. So this is the 30 days. So what we're looking for is 7/22. So it's in this range. Let me just see what we got here. So it's a downward trend and a very small bar. That doesn't look right. So oh, I see. This is the flag right here. So this combination and then this candle will then supposedly high probability of going up. So when you compare, let's see here. I'm gonna just show you that. Okay, so we have here the harami cross 7/22. It does have the uptrend line forming. It is tightening up. That's 180 day. But here was the time to get in. Was it this time, early or late June? Bumped up a little bit, but it's still within range. So that's a good sign. 90-day look back. Let's see here. So right here's our 30-day. So right now we're just slightly above it. We could probably squeeze a little bit of profit. If the price does move up, it will hit that 70 and then come back down. But we have some slight momentum forward. So that's a tough one. But the harami cross I've never seen before. But we'll keep an well. It would add it to the list. But that currency was it NEO? NEO and BNB. Okay, so we have the NEO BNB here of right here. But if we did add these four according to what we have, I've got a report on it if you needed to know, we still get a better return or expected return using this combination of as I said before, BCH BNB and XZC BNB. So that's for optimal return. That doesn't matter if it's Markowitz or whatnot, because we're not using the weightings, but that supposedly would give you a better return. So moving on. Okay, so that's NEO BNB. So now we're using BCH USDT. Okay, so let me just point out here something I learned about in the last week. If you notice the ones that were getting picked, and remember this is on Bitcoin, what you'll notice here is, I just learned this actually, at least for Binance exchange, what will happen is there's two primarily, what I'm seeing, what they call stable coins, which is either BNB or USD Tether, US dollar Tether. So that's a stable coin because it doesn't move a lot. So there's more stability in that base currency. So that's why you see more of this, the BNB and USDT, at least on the Binance exchange. On top of that, I'll still occasionally see Ethereum and Bitcoin as the base coin as well. Just thought I'd put that out there. So now we're dealing with Bitcoin Cash, USDT, buy signal again. You know, this moves a little better on these signals, but I don't put a lot of emphasis as I thought I would on these moving average cross. This one's not as strong just because it's just it did move up a little over that long-term trend, and again, the Fibonacci levels have not opened up a whole lot. The good thing is, I should say there's probably more negative returns, but here we go. So we have some bullish signals here. Last one was 2 days ago. So again, it's a bit move up, but it's tough to say. But I guess start using these target levels as part of that in my system, which I'm not really at this point. This is 180-day, 6-month look. So you can see lots of volume is pretty well the same, but this RSI usually does work, as you can see here. Very reliable, and combined with the momentum on top of that as well. So we have here some interesting formation on a 90-day. 30 days what I'm looking at, but these moves, that's a big move right there. So that would have been in July 14th, 15th. Some big moves there from roughly 675, I'd say, all the way up to 850. Wow, that's quite the big move on Bitcoin Cash. If I was tracking that, that's a nice move. That's gone from roughly, let's say, 700 to 850 on that kind of return. Let me just do that math. Yeah, it's about a 20% remove. That's pretty good. All right, so now we hit Litecoin US dollar here. Again, just eking over that long-term trend. Not tight, not opened up enough, and I can see why this system has only chosen these two, because these are the only ones that show any potential with the Fibonacci levels opening up. So that's quite interesting. Next up, too many negative returns. Our candles bullish on the 18th. That's kind of far back, but we have some trends looking up. That's on a 30-day trend. Okay, so again, the Litecoin moving average is still way below the EMAs, the long-term EMA. 90-day, you can clearly see that the volume is starting to pick up on this. So I think more and more people are moving into the crypto space market. That's since, let's see, yeah, I can see here the podcast we're looking at about roughly mid-June when the volume has just doubled prior to that. So that's a good sign. RSI, it's still at 50. Momentum somewhat positive. This should be added to the watch list, but not quite there. But that in that time is a nice move. This right here, let me just check up on that pattern, candlestick pattern for July 18th. Let's see here what we got. July 18th would take me back to roughly right here. Yeah. So you can see that. What kind of pattern was that? So it did catch it at that big move on the 18th. So that was a matching glow. Matching glow? Let me just make sure I got that. Pattern site. Matching glow. So if we were, let me see here. Matching patternsite.com. Matching glow. Okay. Matching low. I'm sorry. So that threw me off. So we want bullish. Let's see what it said about that in terms of reliability. Let's see. Bullish matching low pattern. I just like the pattern site. Seems to be the best one out there for candlesticks. Blah blah blah. As I create. It is a support zone. It is a support zone. Bullish reversal on the idea of the stock. At the testing reveals that the pattern pushes through the support and acts as a bearish continuation. Bullish reversal. Yeah, so I need to get the book. But the bullish is the bullish matching low. So it's 60%. So I'm going to assume ranking 8th out of 103. Surprising news: the candlestick pattern is now well received, well priced patterns after the breakout. Matching low, frequency 8, 69%. Bull market up breakout. Best moving move 3 breakout ranks are 103. Okay. So if I look at, that was for July 18th. Never thought I'd be putting so much emphasis on. So I caught it here. I'm going to say 17, 18 right here. And in a bizarre way, yeah, it did work, but it's with the opposite of the expectation. So it did have an up move here, and because of that, it looks like we had some moves, and then it moved down. That's what I'm thinking here. Yeah, so it seemed to kind of do its job. So that's pretty well it. But interesting enough, I'm very curious to see how these puppies work on the BCH BNB. And hopefully, let me just see if we have a new. No, I didn't add to the watch list. All right, but yeah, very interesting scan. It looks like the these rankings seems to be kind of working on the selection. But if you have not watched any of my Facebook Lives, it seems that there is some machine learning that can be applied to rank the cryptocurrency pairs for the watch list. Hopefully I'll help you out. Talk to you later.